Okay. Everybody can hear me okay? My computer's acting so funky these days. So please, somebody like interrupt me if it's really, really bad connection or if I'm super spotty. But I am really excited about tonight. Before we get into the one, the only, the Kanya, I want to just do a few quick little housekeeping things. We had Super Saturday this Saturday, and we had a few women over to our house. Those of you who live in the Dakotas that had -60 wind chill, like, why are you there? Why do you live there? You need to move right now. I don't even understand it. But we were really thankful to not have that weather, so we could all get together. But one of the girls was just talking about just kind of feeling like there's so much that they're seeing in notifications and on the team pages and in threads, and they just get overwhelmed and they don't really know like where to go, what to do. And so I put up a post in Rising Jewels last night talking about the 4 different things that we have going for this week to hopefully help you guys to see like they all work together, and it hopefully that will break it down to make it a little bit easier. So of course we have tonight the training and inspiration, and then we have one more event this week, and that's the opportunity event. That's that what if event that we did in December. I will be leading it. My goal is to have it at 30 minutes or less, and that's a really important call to have or to be on if you have somebody that is curious about the business, whether that is somebody that's not a customer yet or somebody that is and they're curious about how to make some money. So those are our 2 events that we have. So you're already on one of them, so check that. So you have one more event. That's Thursday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard. Then the other 2 things that we have this week, for those of you that are like, I'm missing all the things, I don't want to feel overwhelmed, I don't want to miss anything, but I'm missing things and I'm feeling overwhelmed. We have our power hours that are led by the Jewels every day, Monday through Friday. That is just something to help. If you want to feel like you are sitting at a coffee shop virtually with some of your friends who love you and are doing the same thing as you and are supporting you, come and do the power hour if you can. You guys will see posts in Rising Jewels with all the different times, but that's just one thing. The other thing that's really important that we're doing this week and this month that I really, really encourage every single one of you to read and do, and don't get overwhelmed. If you miss a day, don't get overwhelmed. You can do it another day. But we're doing the 4-pillar January. And I think, who was it on Super Saturday that said, if you don't have a strong foundation in your business will crumble. That really stood out to me. That line really stood out to me because we know that the 4 pillars that we're going over this month, the recruiting or enrolling, so recruiting, retaining, duplication, and leadership, those 4 pillars are what give you a strong foundation. And so whoever it was that spoke on that at Super Saturday, if you don't have a strong foundation, your business will crumble. And we don't want to walk into this year where we're having like an iffy foundation. We want to build a strong foundation, and that's why we're always putting focus on these 4 pillars. And so this week, the 4-pillar focus is on retaining our people. So retaining our customers. Sometimes you might hear people talking about what we do in network marketing might feel like you're filling up a bucket that just has tons of holes in them. I think Emily Gibson talked about that in the video we watched last week, how it could feel like that. And so if you're not really focusing on retention, retaining your customers, helping your customers, it's going to feel like that cycle of you're just pouring water into a bucket that just has lots of holes, and you're going to get burned out. So I really encourage you to focus this week on the retention. And I'm sharing posts every morning, Monday through Friday, in Rising Jewels. So what you can do is at some point go and check that post in Rising Jewels, and I typically will have some sort of resource. And I always have some sort of action challenge, and I try to keep it simple. I try to keep it short, so that way you're not going to be spending 3 hours. All of us don't really have 3 hours extra a day. I'm really trying to be cognizant of that. And so don't let fear overtake you of like, oh gosh, I didn't do any of last week, or I missed today's, or oh gosh, this kind of looks long, I don't have time for that. Don't let that derail you and make for an unstable foundation. Buckle in and just commit to doing this. And then you have the weekend to make up for the days that you may have missed, or you even have into February. But I really encourage you to highlight that. So those are the things that we have going this week. Don't get overwhelmed with them. We focus on these things because these things are good and they will help move you forward in your business, giving you that strong foundation. So I am really excited about Kanya. I asked her at the very beginning of the month when I was like kind of combing through the calendar and thinking through like, what are we going to do when we're not doing accountability group? And I said, I wrote down training and inspiration. And I just immediately was like, Kanya just needs to take the whole dang thing. Because normally when we do training and inspiration, we'll have two people, like one person will share her health story and then another will share like some sort of business tip. And Kanya has been with us for a long time. She's actually been a part of Plexus longer than I have. So figure that equation out. But she's got a really, really great story, and she's had a lot of highs and she's had a lot of lows. And when she sits down to do her work, she is fire. And when she has something on her mind that she wants, she's not going to stop. And it's just so cool to see when she shows up in the Kanya Carlson way. Like, it's so exciting and it's so fun to see. And there's just such energy and joy surrounding her. And so she's got so many tips that I just sit back and I listen. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there are a lot of times I will go to Kanya for counsel. I'll be like, what does our team need? Can you tell me about this? Like, does this sound okay? What is your idea? What do you think we should do? Like, she is kind of a point person she is a point person for this team. And so I trust her fully, and I am so excited to see her business and her leadership and her mindset blossoming. And so we're going to just pass it over to her, and I'm sure that she will be open to questions at the end. You can ask them in the chat and she can get to those at the end, unless she gets distracted and wants to answer them at that moment. So Kanya, love you. Thank you for being willing to share. And also just keep in mind, this is scary and this is hard, and doing some sort of training like this, I mean, it takes hours out of the day to train for things like this. So she has put in a lot of time in this. So I appreciate you guys all being on. Bring on your team if they're not on right now. Okay, Kanya, go ahead.
Well, I feel like I could throw up all in the same breath. But also, I did spend all day making sure that what I wanted to say was going to bless you guys. So I feel like I want to start like an AA meeting and be like, hi, I'm Kanya and I have imposter syndrome. Thank you for joining me here tonight. All jokes aside, there is truth in that, because the reason is I have been with Plexus for 8 years. And do you know what rank is expected or assumed if you say that to people? Well, I can tell you it ain't gold. So you can take that for what it's worth. Being asked to train and inspire should have invoked some like pride and humility and flatteredness, if that's a word. But instead, it initially created this like, what am I going to say that anyone on here is going to believe, take note on, or think, well, if you know how to do this so well, why haven't you done it? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because instead of telling you what you should do in your businesses, I'm actually going to speak more of like, don't make the same mistakes that I have and don't take as long as I did to recognize the changes that need to be made. And I will say, I am proud of myself for being with Plexus and not quitting, because that takes some cojones. And I am proud of myself for rebuilding over and over and over and over again. I have gone gold with 2 whole different teams. I'm humbled to be here sharing with many of you that I am inspired by. So please don't think that what you do in your business isn't valuable to this team because of how long you've been here, because of the rank that you hold. If there are questions in our threads and you have an answer, say it. There have been so many times where I'm like, oh, I don't know. I mean, maybe this isn't the right answer. I know how I would respond. That's probably not how like Emily would respond or Kara. Like, I'll wait for them to answer. Don't wait for them. You respond, because you know how to work your business. You know what works for you. And someone may need to hear what you have to say that sounds more like something that they would say. Not everyone talks the same or reaches people the same. So I want to talk to you something about what I'm calling balance your blinders. We hear a lot, put your blinders on. Don't look side to side. Focus on what you're doing. And we've all heard this, and we all have an idea of what this means. But what does it actually mean to manage that? Because One thing is to know to put your blinders on, and it's another thing to do and feel that. And I'd assume that we can all agree that we want to stay focused and we want to focus on our things, but our brains cannot fully let us do that. We also can't fully put our blinders on because we are looking at people and celebrating those wins. So we are looking at them and saying, look what they did. And so naturally, in this community that we have built and this team of encouragement, we celebrate the fire out of each other. Well, that comes with the flip side because maybe you're not having a winning month and that does something to you to see everyone else winning. And I'll be honest, I have probably had more not winning months and thought, oh, I'm doing the things and it's just not enough, or something negative Nelly like that, more than all of you combined. So it doesn't matter what you think other people are doing. You have to balance your blinders. And if you're going to let yourself look at people and start thinking, oh, I could never do that. Oh, well, good for them. That's great for them. You're going to also need to switch the blinders to the other side because it's going to be inevitable that you're looking side to side. There are people who are not doing what you're doing. So turn the blinders the other direction. Stop only focusing on what others are doing and winning at, and give yourself credit for what you are doing. Are you showing up to calls? That's more than what there are not 39 people on our team. Okay. So what, 50, 80, 100 people didn't show up tonight, but you did. Celebrate that for yourself. Did you do the challenges this week? Well, guess what? I didn't. So you're doing more than I am. And here I am training you. Okay. Did you do the 50-person challenge last month? Celebrate that. You know what? I did the first 50-person challenge, and I'll let you know that when somebody posted, I did 67. I'm like, oh, maybe I should do more. No, you did the 50. I'm going to celebrate that I did the 50-person challenge. I'm going to let them celebrate that they did 67. Did you do 20? Then you celebrate those 20 people, because guess what? Those are 20 more people in your funnel that the person who didn't even try doesn't have. So you have to put your blinders on and you have to make sure that they're balanced. Otherwise, they're wonky and you're just looking at the successes and making yourself feel like a failure based on what? Rank ups, earning trips, incentive prizes. That is not a steady pace of like, is your business growing? So speaking of things that don't serve your business and wishing that you could do something like so-and-so, and stopping the overwhelm spiral and the regret spiral. Y'all, the struggle is real for me when it comes to the overwhelm and the regret. And you will not convince me that you are busier or more overwhelmed than anyone else on this team to not be able to overcome it. But you also have to recognize that overcoming it is going to look vastly different for each of us. So the sooner you can realize what it takes for you to get back on track, for you to stop your overwhelm spirals, the sooner you can keep your business growing. Solely speaking into the overwhelm, life is going to happen to you, and it's going to happen fast. I'm no stranger to this, and I have spent a lot of my business wishing I could go back and do things differently. But I don't mean differently in the sense that it's growth for me. I look at it and wish I could do it like so-and-so. But you know what? One thing, your audience doesn't want you to show up like Emily. Your audience doesn't want you to show up like Lacey. They know you and they want you to show up as you. So just because someone else can keep posting through tragedy and you need to take a hiatus to heal, your people know that about you and they will be there. Or maybe so-and-so shows up in the story the second after they push out a baby. But the people you're meant to relate to are going to relate to you because you focused more on a new routine and having it with your crew and spending time with your family. Whereas the other people who are posting as soon as they push out a baby, their people are going to relate to that. And that's who they are going to attract, because they also would be the person posting as soon as they have a baby. Or maybe so-and-so's on vacation and they signed 3 people, but you just want to build sandcastles and spend time with family. That is okay. All of the above have one common denominator, and that's no matter what is happening, they are still showing up in some capacity that works for them. And so what works for me may not work for you with stopping the overwhelm and the regret. But for me, It was allowing myself grace for what I didn't get done and stop hyper focusing and overthinking about it and just doing something to stop the cycle immediately. And so that's actually what happened to me today. So I sat down and I was going to line out everything. And I knew in some point, because I had all these bullet points, that I was going to be speaking to the change that I made for myself about being in stories every day. And guess what? I haven't been in my stories probably for the past 2 days. And I knew that if I got on here tonight, that there'd be this nagging undertone and this negativity of like, but you didn't do it today, but you didn't do it today, but you didn't do it today, like a broken record. And so instead of having that overwhelmed cycle playing in my head, I just popped on my stories right then. I shared about Leaders Retreat, and I immediately shut my brain down from that, because now my brain can't say, well, you didn't do what you said you were going to do, and now you're going to go train everybody else to do this thing. No, my brain cannot tell me that while I'm trying to do something good. Your brain wants to take the easiest route, and sometimes it wants to sabotage you. So you're going to have to go against that. So instead of those spiraling thoughts, do the thing. Okay, you're sitting in a car ride line, and now you're mad because you had a sick kid at home and you didn't get anything done that you had planned, and you intended to work for an hour, but you didn't get to do that. And then you're going to have to go to Bible study later, and then it's dinner, bath, and bed. And so when are you going to get this work done? Stop right then and send one message, not all of your IPAs, not 5 messages, not all of your customer care. Do one thing so your brain knows you're going to do what you say you're going to do, and it's something in the right direction. Do something right then. If you start to feel yourself panicking or stressed or worried or, oh my goodness, like I can't do all these challenges that Emily's posting about. Now she's talking about it and everyone else is. No, your blinders are not balanced. Everyone else is also not doing the things as well, but they might be doing one of the challenges. And so go read one and see how that's going to work for your day. You're in the car ride line, your phone's literally at your disposal. I promise you, all of you have your phones within arm's reach right now. And so if you're feeling that, you can pop on right now, cut me off, go do the one thing. So you know what? I have something to be proud of when I get off this call. So why now? Why do I think that the switch has been flipped? Emily has been trying to get me to figure out, how do we flip the switch and keep it on? Girl, same. If I could figure out how to flip the switch for all of you, I would. And I have tried and tried, but I firmly believe that God has his timing. Okay. Hold on. I got to pull something up because I'm going to read you something. Okay. He's also waiting us for us to do something with what he's given us. And if you're unfamiliar with the story of the drowning man, I'm going to read it. If you've heard it over and over, then you're going to understand where this analogy is going. But here's what the drowning man story is. A fellow was stuck on his rooftop in a flood. He was praying for God for help. Soon, a man in a rowboat came by, and the fellow shouted to the man on the roof, "Jump in, I can save you." The stranded fellow shouted back, "No, it's okay. I'm praying to God, and he's going to save me." So the rowboat went on. Then a motorboat came by, and the man said, "Jump in, I can save you." To which the stranded man said, "No, thanks. I'm praying to God. He's going to save me. I have faith." So the motorboat went on. Then a helicopter came by, and the pilot shouted, "Grab the rope. I'll lift you to safety." To the stranded man again said, "No, thanks. I'm praying to God. He's going to save me. I have faith." So the helicopter reluctantly flew away. Soon the water rose above the rooftop, and the man drowned. He went to heaven. He finally got a chance to have this discussion about this whole situation with God, to which point he exclaimed, "I had faith in you, but you didn't save me. You let me drown. I don't understand why." And to this, God replied, "I sent you a rowboat and a motorboat and a helicopter. What more did you expect?" Here's the deal, the hard truth. Some of us are going to get to heaven. "God, why didn't you make me a diamond?" And he's going to be like, "Well, I let you meet that girl in Bible study, and you never said anything to her. She was going to take you to Ruby. And then this girl on social media, I let you come across her feed, but you were too afraid of being salesy to even message her, and she was taking you to Emerald." Is he sending you people in front of you and you're not getting in the boat? Are you doing something with this opportunity that he's put in front of you? Are you just hoping that it's going to do it by itself? I cannot stress enough about praying over your business and taking everything to God that you want and asking him for what you need and what you want. And when he shows you the people, you have to do something. You cannot pass up that chance. You have to pray like it depends on him, but you also are going to have to work like it depends on you. So what has helped me, and what was the one change that I made that I've already shared after convention? I told myself I would do this. I had a plan of action. It wasn't just hopes and dreams. I knew exactly the change I was going to make, and I was going to do it immediately. And I probably sound like a lot of you that left convention, right? We had plans, we had hopes, we had dreams. We knew what we were going to do, and we were going to walk out there on that convention high and do the dang things. Well, here's the thing. My only plan when I left convention was to show up in my stories every day, solely because I knew that there were so many times that I wanted to share plexus in my stories, but I hadn't been showing up, that it did feel a little bit inauthentic. Like, you're not showing up otherwise. You only want to show up when you want to sell me something. That's a story I tell myself. It's probably a story you tell yourself. But I knew that if I started showing up in my stories, that now anytime plexus did something, that it was going to be normal. People were going to be used to seeing me. They knew I was going to be sharing something about my life, that chatting like with plexus was going to be just as easy as chatting about taking my kids to the pool in the summer. Did I show up for my stories every day? No. Did I let imperfection paralysis set in and call it quits? Also no. Instead, when I felt the overwhelm, I would just show up that day with something that I was doing, something the kids were doing, post a picture, and show up in some capacity. Now, another reality that we need to settle in on with expectations and laying the groundwork for your business is about these incentives that Plexus puts out. And what that means moving forward. I have had my fair share of disappointment with not getting incentives or earning trips, 8 years worth. And I can't tell you the amount of times that something was announced. Okay, hear me. That something was announced and I really wanted it. And so at the beginning of the month, I was gung-ho, and then I would end up disappointed that I didn't earn it, even though I worked really hard for that month. Do you hear the problem? Even though I worked really hard for that month. I don't know what seeds that you plant, but I don't ever get fruit from them in a month. Just saying. Not a gardener. I don't even plant. I can't keep anything alive but my 5 children, so we're doing good there. But it's just the way the cookie crumbles with this business, y'all. We cannot plant these seeds for people that know nothing about gut health and expect fruit in a month. There was a call that really clicked that for me that Emily did, and she had Nancy share about what she'd been doing. And she was sharing that she'd been doing events and that she'd been doing weekly play dates that had to do with plexus. She was doing messenger events. And these weren't things that she just implemented. She'd been doing these things since April, and now it was fall. And for whatever reason, that was the light bulb for me. I was like, okay, you can either be disappointed, or you can just make sure you're always doing as much as you can all of the time. That sounds exhausting. I get it. But like I said, you're not going to tell me you're more overwhelmed or more busy than Nancy. She homeschools and has lots of kids too. So I stopped working hard for 1 month for a prize, and I started working more intently on growing my business. And so I messaged Nancy and I was like, okay, tell me about these things and all the stuff. And so then I made changes based on that belief that I now knew deep in my soul. You can hear it. You can hear someone say, well, do something for 90 days and you're going to start seeing the fruit. I've heard that. But for whatever reason, until it clicks for you, it's not going to click. So try to find something that's going to make that click for you. The next thing that changed for me is that Liz was sharing that Dana Olafson signs like 3 to 8 people all of the time in what she does. And we all had all these questions. And the answer was she messages and follows up a whole lot. Okay. I don't know what a whole lot is for you, but I thought I was doing that. Okay. Truly. I thought I was messaging a lot of people. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to message Dana and I'm just going to ask her what that really looks like, because Liz made the number. I think it was like 7 to 12 people. And I'm like, that feels doable. 7 to 12 people. Well, yeah, if you look at your IPA, you're probably sending what, five messages a day. So that's 15 people a week. So, okay. Nope. Girls sending 15 to 20 messages a day. A day. A day. Y'all, how? I'll tell you how. She just does the dang thing. And she keeps it at the front of her mind. Now, it makes sense to me why she was signing 6 people. Fun fact, she's already signed 3 this month. I encourage you, if you see people who are doing something that you want to know how to do, they're a message away. Following along, I'm saying I made these changes in June, right after convention. And so if you're following along, I did not earn the cruise. And there was a month in there that I could have looked back of those 4 months of the cruise earning period, that I could have looked back and I thought, you know what? I didn't do very much that month. That's probably why I didn't earn it. No, it's part of it, but it's not all of it. I wasn't messaging 15 to 20 people a day to get the goal that I wanted to achieve. You have to know when our leaders say you have to know how to get to your goal, it's not that you just know you need to sign X amount of people. What are you going to do to get X amount of people? And if you do it by the statistics that we hear, the 8 to 12 times the touch points, and that you're going to get 10% of the people you message. Well, if you want to sign 10 people, you got to message 100 people, right? Like you got to put the numbers to it, and it's got to work in your favor. And so, yes, you've got to do the work to get to the goals, and you've got to know what that work is and be willing to do that. So not only did that happen and I didn't earn it, I want to take you back to convention, and Megan Milokovic shared that once she was on stage, that she had envisioned that moment. Once upon a time, she saw herself training from a stage in a blue dress and teaching us all. And at the time, she felt really silly with that vision, but then there she was at convention in a blue dress on a stage teaching us all. She did not imagine that she'd be pregnant. She did say that. And she was. But I teared up with her as she teared up seeing her vision come to fruition, because there is just something about someone's dream and vision happening right in front of you that gets you. I mention this because as Emily and I were mapping out Punta Cana trip, I dare to say that it seemed really impossible, even when we put the numbers to it. And it was going to require like adding 6 people a month, growing 2 silvers, and retaining almost everyone, which kind of seemed like a stretch. And there was going to have to be some rank up or a re-ranking in there. Y'all, I hadn't re-ranked gold and I don't know how long. So the fact of that happening, or even like ranking up to senior gold or anything, like it all just seemed very like, yeah, the numbers look great, but you actually have to do those numbers. And I remember, but here's the thing, like Megan said, for whatever reason, I remember seeing myself earning it. Like I could feel it in my bones, believed it was going to happen. And so after praying over it for one day, I just was like, okay, I just see it happening. During the month of September, I knew I needed to add a lot of people, because that was a month of like double rank points and all the things. And so I knew I also had to rank up. It was going to take an act of Congress. And I kept telling people about this trip, and I was like, but it's going to take a miracle of God for me to earn this trip. And so I needed to know, I knew at the end of the month, I was going to visit Casey, and we're going to close out the month together and work those last 2 days together. And I needed 2 more people to reach my goals. And I had 3 people on the docket. So I was like, yes, this is happening. I drove down to Casey's on the last day of the month, and I'm driving, and I'm also checking my messages. And about halfway there, 2 of the 3 people were like, I'm just going to have to wait. Well, I'm driving to Mina, which is like 3 hours away, and I no longer have those 3 people on the docket. Okay. That's not an awesome feeling, because I also now can't work. So I had a red light. I decided I'm going to post a sleep story. I had posted so many stories, y'all, so many stories about plexus and life, that I think I had like 20 slides every day during the month of September on my stories. And I posted at a red light something about sleep. No lie. On the way to Mina, there's all these like, Jesus lives here and God got you, and these signs on the side of the road. And I remember seeing one of them, and I'm listening to Brittany Howard, and she's also talking about relying on God. And I am now sobbing driving to Mina. One, because I've worked really hard and I'm 2 people away and it's just not going to happen. And then I'm like, you know what? You worked really hard and you signed at this point 5 or 6 people. When was the last time I signed 5 or 6 people? A really long time ago. And so then I see another sign and it's like, God's got this. And I was like, you know what? He does. He truly does. Like, I have done the dang things. And if it doesn't work out, I'm going to have to be okay with it. Yes, it's going to suck to rank up next month. When it doesn't count double points, I'm going to kind of beat myself up about it. I'm not going to lie. But I still am going to rank up next month and it's going to be okay. It's going to work out because he does have this. I'm earning this trip. It just may not be with these points this month. I get to the next red light, which there are not very many red lights on the way to Mina, by the way. And this lady messages me that I have messaged a long time ago. And she's like, okay, I think I want to do this. I hadn't messaged her in the month of September at all. So then I'm sitting with Casey and I'm getting her signed up. And in the capacity of showing up, my friend messages me who I've never reached out to, never would have reached out to probably, and says, hey, I think I need to sign me and my daughter up. I'm sorry, what? Okay, well, I'm in the panic mode because I'm like, could I close them out this month? Like, that's not going to happen because you know what it takes to close someone out and give them all the information. And I literally have like 5, 4, 3 hours left. I don't know. Y'all, she sent me her information. 2 people, 3 people. Not only did God show up big, he did not just send me the 2 that I needed. He was like, let me do one more and I'm going to send you 3 for the month of September. So I did rank up. I got all those points, but there's still 3 months of the contest left. Y'all, I bought a dress in Mina for Punta Cana that month. Old Kanya would not have ever spent money on a dress she's not going to wear wherever she says she's going to wear it. This is not a dress you wear when you have 5 kids. Okay. But it's loud and it's fun and I love it. And so I bought the dress. I saw myself earning it and I did the things in the month of September. Was it hard? Yes. Was it exhausting? Yes. Was I overwhelmed by the fact of I can't let all these people slip through my fingers? Yes. But it's not impossible and everything is figure outable. So I want to go back to messaging, back to the 15 to 20 message. Oh, sorry. Hear me when I say people are not thinking about you as much as you think they are thinking about you. And I will preach that until you are hearing that in your sleep. Because that month and this whole contest, I was messaging and following up like a mad woman. I kept a hard list and I would refer to it often and I would revisit conversations often, but not just about Plexus. I would pop into their messages and comment on their stories and follow their post. And I would just pop like, hey, I saw you guys are moving. That's so exciting. Like, tell me about it. Okay. Keep the conversation going. Talk to people like you're normal. We have to get out of our heads and think, oh, I just messaged them. Okay. So what? Why not message them again? You know, you've seen the memes or the gifts or whatever you want to call it that are like, when I get a text message, I either reply immediately or in 3 months, right? Like we all know that that's like a running joke that people do. And if you don't do that, I don't know how you do that, but that's true. Like if you text me, I'm either going to respond to you immediately or I'm going to think I responded and never actually, or it might be 3 months later. So hear me. Here's what you're thinking. You think that the person you messaged read your message and that they had a whole internal conversation to themselves about you and your salesiness, and that they can't believe that you would want to help them make extra money and help them find relief from their health problems. And after all of that, they just decided to write you nothing because they don't want Plexus. Sister, I'm so glad we all have the confidence to think that we are so highly thought of in everyone else's day to day. No, you were out of sight, out of mind to them as soon as they closed that message. So yes, the next day when you are worrying yourself sick about what they thought of your message, guess what you're going to do? You're going to ask them, hey, I'm just curious what your thoughts are on the above message. I'm really excited to see how this will help you with your weight loss plateau that you posted about the other day. Just ask them what they thought about the message. I mean, it truly is that simple. We don't have to make it weird. I'm like, oh, do I send it? Do I send it? Just send the message and then leave it to them. Then they can be rude and tell you, girl, don't message me. This is salesy. They're not going to say that. I've literally had nobody say that to me. Because we have so much social media consumption, you are just another thing they are consuming. You think a post that you post a lot, that you message a lot because you see all of your messages and you see all of your content. They don't. You might not even be in their algorithm. You might not even be on their feed. You might not even be in their stories. And so I have called myself out to people that I feel like, oh, I'm bothering them. And I will message and say, sorry to bother you, but I know for me, things are out of sight, out of mind. And I wanted to make sure that if you wanted to take advantage of the deals this month, that you saw the above message and that we could get your goodies ordered for you. So many times I'll get back, oh my gosh, you're not bothering me. Yes, I actually meant to message you. Well, if you don't pop back into their message and just check in with them, this is what you do for a job. Their health is clearly not their concern at this point in time. They don't know why they need these supplements. They don't know what it's going to do for them. They can't even imagine how they would feel because they've never done it. You know, and it is your responsibility to tell them and to keep it at the front of their mind. Don't you dare just say, okay, and just leave the conversation. And especially if they say, no, I can't this month. Okay, you keep that conversation going. That's totally fine. I understand with the holidays and all that. Plexus actually runs several specials a lot. So would it be okay with you if I check in with you next month and just kind of keep you in the loop? So if it's a better time next month, we can get you feeling better. That's it. That's all you have to say to keep that conversation going. And I promise you, they're going to say, oh, yeah, that'd be great. Actually, let me know if there's anything next month. And you know what? I have a girl literally on my list who has told me that for 5 months. And not once have I made her feel bad because I don't know her finances. I don't know her day in and day out. But I do know that Plexus is going to help her. So I'm not going to let her forget that this is an option for her. Speaking of list and keeping up with people that you're messaging in the month, if you are a long timer and you've been doing accountability for any amount of time, I want you to go through all of last year and compile a list and start plugging those people into your new IPAs for this year. Because I did that in a slow season when I thought that I was out of my warm market. You will not convince me you're out of my warm market when I've been doing this for 8 years and I signed 24 people over the past 4 months. Okay. I don't know that I will accept that answer as like, well, I'm just out of my warm market. Okay. Well, you've messaged for 2023 all of accountability group. So you have at least 50 people, at least, you can now reach back out to as almost new reach outs. Okay. Because it's been long enough for them. They're in a whole new season of life. They may have quit jobs. They may have another kid. They have moved all over the country since 6 months ago. People do crazier things than sign up for Plexus after 6 months. Okay. They may have said no, but now may be the time. I did this and it was great to have that new list that I could go and move forward from. And some of the people that I signed were those people. So we have to get out of our own way when it comes to posting and stories and messaging. Because like I said, I try to show up daily. These stories are only on Instagram for 24 hours. Do you check your stories every day? So if something you were interested in, like a shirt that your influencer post goes on sale and she posted it today, did you go check her Instagram to see if it went on sale today? No, you missed it. So you didn't even see it today. So guess what? When you posted today that there's a sale going on or that they could get a free water bottle or that they could get a free bag of Slim with the ultimate weight loss combo, they didn't even see it, but they're interested and they missed it. So you're going to post tomorrow about Plexus in your stories, you drinking it, you mixing it up. You're going to talk about it just like your normal people talking about all of the things that you talk about. If it's okay for influencers to talk about hair and makeup and clothes and shoes and sales and Old Navy and Target and all of the ridiculousness, it is okay for you to talk about Plexus every single day, forever and ever, amen, because it is changing your family, your health, and therefore you're changing other people's family and health. Here's the deal. Stop being your own Instagram police. Okay? Do what feels comfortable. Do what feels authentic. Do what feels genuine because guess what? It's going to be gone in 24 hours anyway, and no one else is going to see it. So in 24 hours, it's okay if you look a hot mess. It's okay if your hair is ratchety. It's okay if your kid's screaming in the background. Somebody's relating to that. Somebody relates to the ratchet you. Somebody relates to the perfectly put on makeup you. Okay? Somebody's relating to you. I want you to really think about how you consume Instagram, how you consume Facebook, what you want to see, and if you would be annoyed by seeing other people do this, and if you've ever actually thought that from someone you follow closely on Instagram. I'm going to leave you with this portion. Training. I hate, loathe entirely podcast. It's not my jam. I hate Audible books. I actually hate to read self-help and personal development books. So guess what? Sometimes you got to do what you hate. And you have to make the time to do the things that are going to make a difference for the long run. These calls that you're on them because you're learning from others' mistakes and successes. So save yourself the growing pain and be on them every Monday because you're going to learn something. You're going to grow, you're going to take away something, and it's going to hit different every single Monday. Brittany Howard's podcast, she's in Plexus. If you don't listen to anything else, listen to that because she's in it. So everything she's speaking about is, yes, globally network marketing, but it's honed in on Plexus information and what she has walked through. So listen to the podcast. Accountability group is going to make sure that you're doing the dang things to make sure you're hitting your goals, and it's going to hold you accountable to do those things. And then last, we have book club. You're going to grow even if the book is super long and heavy. If you've read it before and you hate to read personal growth, or maybe you just don't have time to read, here's the deal. You're going to have to find the time because you're worth your dreams. And that's all I have for you.
I mean, can we all unmute and just clap for this woman? So
I also
good.
didn't read any of the chat because I could not. So if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them.
So I didn't see any questions come through yet. Everybody was just cheering you on and just so impressed. And if you guys do have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or raise your hand, unmute yourself. I just am so proud of you, Kanya. Like you are a diamond. Your points just haven't caught up yet, but they're going to. Everything you said is just so wise. So many notes in this. I loved like giving yourself credit for what you are doing. I love stopping your overwhelm cycle by just doing one thing. Like just stop that overwhelm and just do one thing. I loved how you talked about how after June your goal to show up every day in your stories, but you didn't become paralyzed when you didn't reach that goal every day. I think that is something that a lot of us do, and that is a perfection thing, and perfection is avoidance. And so I love that you called it and you did not become paralyzed. You just got better the next day, or you did something real quick and showed up in there and stayed true to your word, stayed true to yourself. I loved what you said about how you can't plant something and expect fruit in a month. That's so good. I've never heard it like that. That's such great perspective, and especially in our line of business where it's relational and we are in that cycle of making sure people, one, are invited, that they understand the value of the products, and sometimes they might just need that value of the products or our belief inserted into them more than once for them to be able to say, okay, I think that this is what I need to do. I think this is what I want to do. So I loved that. I really liked how you talked about, like when you were talking specifically about the different like leaders retreats and things of that nature, where you said you can choose to be disappointed or you can choose to start doing the things that you need to be doing consistently. You guys, I don't know if you know this, but Kanya, I'm not sure if I'm quoting this direct, but basically like she had made comments to me about like she just kind of almost like there was like this glass ceiling, right? Like she felt like she kind of got to gold when she was on the other team, then she moved to our team, got to gold, said like I just don't know if I'll ever get past that. I don't think I will. I don't think it's in me. I don't know if I can. And then she also said, I've never earned Leaders Retreat. I don't think I ever will. Do you guys know that she not only earned Leaders Retreat, but she also earned the $400 cash prize. So it's not like she just hit it at, 1,250 points. She far exceeded that, and she had fun doing it. And I think that when we sit down and when we do something that has a purpose, there's such fulfillment that comes in that. And I think if we can sit back and look at what we're doing and realize the purpose that we have, it's not just for us to earn a blanket or to earn a trip to Punta Cana. It's to help those people who come to you and say, I saw your message or your post about sleep, and I've been struggling with sleep for 30 years. I wonder if this could help me. There's purpose in what we're doing because what we're doing does help, but we have to take our eyes off of ourselves and our failures, the goals that we've missed, and we've got to get back into that consistency and finding joy in what we're doing, finding joy in the way that we're serving people in that consistency. So many of you guys are just amazing with the way that you're pouring into Kanya. Kanya, I hope that you feel so loved. I mean, seriously, you are so wise, and it's been so beautiful just to see you and your leadership and your team blossom. Does anybody have any questions for Kanya? Ellis is asking what your favorite color is.
I like hot pink. Hot pink always. Always hot pink. Sweet Ellis.
Lauren said, can you give an example of a follow-up for a ghost? Ellis, this is not a
Oh,
ghost, but this is like
okay. So actually, I was talking with Casey about what I wanted to talk about, and that was actually something she was like, you have to mention ghosting. And I totally left it off the whole thing. So I'm glad you asked that, because ghosting and calling people out on it is actually my specialty. Because listen, people are going to leave you left on red. And so I have no shame in just being like, I wish I could find one. Dang it. I should have looked them up. Let me look up this one. I know I said it too. Well, it won't take long. Here's the deal. I literally just say something like, hey, I've messaged a couple times about Plexus, and I know you mentioned you were interested, but now are you just ghosting me about it? You can just tell me if you're not interested. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I give them also verbiage to get out. And so I'll say, okay, girl, are you ghosting me? Because it feels like you might be ghosting me. Listen, if there's no interest, I don't want to bother you with this. So you can just let me know if this isn't a good timing, or if it's just not in the cards, or if you want, or what's going on. So I literally just call them out on the ghost. Sometimes I'll even send a gift of a ghost, and I'll be like, hey, kind of feeling like this guy. Are you ghosting me about this? If you don't want to talk about it, I get it. I just want to make sure that, I'll even call him out and like, hey, you posted about migraines and I have a solution. And so I just wanted to offer this to you. Not in so many blunt words. It would be sugar coated in the sense of, hey, I know I kind of feel like you're ghosting me about Plexus, but I saw that you posted about migraines, and I know this could be a solution because I have so many friends that have benefited from it. And I just wanted you to know that this was an option, but you can totally let me know if this is not your jam. And then they will usually respond, hey, I'm so sorry that I didn't respond. Yeah, I just don't think I'm interested right now. Okay, when you have objections, do not say, okay, thanks for letting me know. You then turn it around. Oh, well, have you found anything that helps for your migraines? What were things that other people suggested for migraines? Because I'd love to be able to share so that if somebody else is struggling with migraines, I can help them with something else. Because you don't want to come off that Plexus is the end all be all, but you also want them to keep in the back of their mind that you know what they're doing. So when and if that doesn't work, you can touch back with them and be like, when they post, hey, I've been on this medication and it's not working anymore. Hey, Sarah Joe, I just saw that the medicine that we talked about isn't working anymore. I didn't know if maybe now might be a better time to at least try Plexus. I know when I felt like I was at my wit's end trying to lose weight, this was a solution for me. So could that be something that you want to try? Because people will get to their wit's end trying all of the things. I can't tell you how many hard no's I have gotten that have come back to me because I've posted or been in my stories and have signed up. And I've been flabbergasted because I'm literally one girl that signed up last month. I was like, what? I'm pretty sure you were a hard no, but her messages have disappeared since. But I was like, I'm going to find it because I'm going to prove that hard no's and what they look like are not hard no's. So no doesn't always mean no. Okay. Only in Plexus. No means no other times, but in Plexus, it doesn't. So you have to just be persistent, but keep the conversation going, even in rejection, because you can spin it around and pinpoint one thing in the message that you want to keep talking about. So if they say, hey, I'm really not interested, I think I've been trying clean eating and I really think that's the route that I want to take, then you can be like, oh, that's awesome. Tell me about clean eating because I really have wanted to focus more alongside having Plexus in my toolbox. I do think it would be better to focus on that. What does that look like? And then you let them start talking about clean eating. And again, when they're not losing the weight, because clean eating isn't sustainable for them in their lifestyle, because if it was sustainable, they would have done it already. Then you can also pop back in and be a trusted source of someone who wasn't just trying to preach Plexus. You were interested in what they were doing, and that they can now trust you to be like, hey, you know what? I think I want to try that now. And so you just have to you have to just get out of your own way again. And you have to just, what would you want somebody to say to you? What would you want somebody to ask you? How would you want somebody to invest in you and do that to them? As far as ghosting, just call them out on it. Okay, Pumpkin?
So good. I will put up a post in Rising Jewels in the next couple of days with different message examples of how you could talk to somebody who doesn't respond to your messages, and I'd love for you guys to put your examples too in the comments. We'll do this one last question because I know it's getting a little late. Carly asked, how would you suggest reaching back out to someone you signed forever ago who has stopped? They maybe tried for a month or two.
So I would go about it several different ways. One of them that's off the top of my head, I would absolutely point out, hey, I know that you tried Plexus last December and we were on a good regimen for about a month or two, and then we weren't able to keep up ordering for whatever reason. I wanted to let you know that your account actually is eligible to restart if you have some New Year's goals that you want to hit. We could start you brand new. You could take advantage of the sales and incentives that are going on this month, and we could start again. And if we work closer together, maybe we could chat more about what those goals were so that we can achieve those and you have success with them this time. If it's someone who just stopped, you didn't message, you feel like you fell through the cracks, own up to the fact that you let them fall through the cracks. People appreciate vulnerability. And so I will also say, hey, I'm going to be perfectly honest. We started you on products and I didn't check back in with you. And I know that we were only able to give it to you like 2 months worth. Did you continue taking them? What happened there? I wouldn't say what happened there, but did you continue taking them? And then let them talk. Chances are like, oh yeah, I just stopped it. They wasn't working. Like, well, so I want to tell you the products are going to need some time. So I feel like after 2 months, we may not have been able to see the actual benefits that your body is going to respond to. Every body is different and it's going to respond differently. So if you're willing, I would love to see if what 3 or 4 months of the products could do. Did you see any wins in that? Were you sleeping better? Give them some options of what they might have seen that maybe they wanted the scale to move and they didn't pay attention to their sleep or mood or energy because they were only focused on this one thing not working.
I got a little distracted, but you because of shirtless Scott and then him popping his little head in there. Um, so you may have said this and I may have missed it, but also utilizing like the weight loss challenge that Plexus is doing. Did you mention that? Okay. So like that's always something that I like to do too. Like if there's a corporate run event or if like we are doing something as a team, many of my people come to me for weight loss. And so I would maybe message like, hey, Kanya, I know that you came to me a year or so ago with a desire for weight loss. I thought of you when Plexus promoted this or shared that they're doing this like really big weight loss accountability group and they've got some really great new products. And I wanted to see if that was something that you'd be interested in like learning more about and starting back up on. So like you can make it super simple and utilize these third party tools that we have going as well. So I put that in my notes too, of making a post about that, like how to approach people who started the products a while ago and only did it for a minute, like how you can touch back in touch with, or get back in touch with them. But make sure that we're not just sitting in the past, because there are a lot of people who will try the products and are looking for a quick fix and will probably never come back again. So don't just rely on the people that you've signed in the past to hopefully come back. You've got to get out, you've got to be growing your network, and you've got to be, just like Kanya said, showing up to your business consistently. This was such a beautiful call, Kanya. I appreciate you so much. If you guys had some takeaways from the call, I would love for you guys to either just privately message Kanya and just thank her for her wisdom and maybe share with her some takeaways that you guys got from the call, or you can share in the Goal Diggers thread if you're in that thread, just to encourage her. But also writing it out will also, I think, kind of like solidify in your brain that that is something that did stand out to you, and that might help keep at the forefront of your brain too. I will put this on YouTube as soon as I have a chance, and we will share it in our threads. That way we can go back and re-listen. Kanya, you are amazing, and can't wait to be in Punta Cana with you a month and 5 days from now. No, month and 2 days from now. So excited. Okay, we'll see you guys all later. Thank you for being on the call tonight. We'll see you guys Thursday. Bye.